What's happening, hardscapers? Today we're trying out a new tool, the GeoRipper, on one of our job sites. We are going to be trenching a gas line. This tool, especially in our business where we deal with a lot of tight access scenarios, is a huge labor saver. We can typically not get a lot of equipment into a backyard to do these trenching, especially for gas lines, things like lighting. These need to be 6 inches for lighting wire down, as well as 18 inches for that gas line below grade. So this GeoRipper, this mini trencher, really saves us. It's an awesome tool. We'll talk about what's great about it, what are the downfalls, and how you need to be pricing properly for when you are using this machine on the job site. Let's get into it. The GeoRipper is a mini trencher that you can use for utility gas lines, irrigation lines, landscape lighting, or just quick ripping of any soil that you need to get out of your way. The GeoRipper is available in various models using Makita engines. They have a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke, and a 20-inch and a 27-inch digging depth model. They have conversion kits for other engines as well, and along with this, they have a cart that allows you to operate it without having to bend down while you're trenching. Now, certainly not an inexpensive unit. It definitely has its uses, especially when dealing with tight access situations, or if you have a lack of space, which we have in our business, is a perfect option for a trenching solution. The teeth of the chain are actually self-sharpening and will actually cut through 3-inch in diameter roots below grade, and it will remove 4-inch rocks. Now, I have noticed that sometimes the perfect size rock will get lodged between the chain and the unit itself, causing the chain to completely stop, but this is easily removed and you just move right along. The GeoRipper saga continues here. There's actually a rock that's the perfect size and shape to lodge itself into this. It stopped the machine. I can't get the chain going again, so gotta pry out this rock. Now, the GeoRipper is a powerful tool and it will throw rocks around, so you want to encourage PPE, glasses, and steel toe boots when you're using this, and anything that's breakable around the trench that you're digging, you're going to want to protect, like glass windows, doors, and whatnot. When you're digging, you'll notice that the soil actually naturally builds up on the left side of the unit outside of the trench, and you'll have to actually move it over manually to make sure that it doesn't fall back into the trench if you're digging more than about 10 inches. Also, the walls of the trench, when you're digging, if you're digging in a more cohesive material, the walls of the trench will actually be nice and solid so that it's not caving in. The chain itself will last between 1,000 and 3,000 linear feet depending on the depth that you're digging and the abrasiveness of the material, but the machine itself comes with 2 chains. And the width of the trench is perfect for our subcontractors to just come in and drop that gas line into place. It's the perfect machine for our gas lines where we're going 18 inches down below grade, the pipe. So we're actually digging down 20 inches, which is perfect for our 20-inch machine that we have. And we have the 20-inch 2-stroke machine. It's also perfect for landscape wiring that we do lots of, where we're going 6 inches down for this low voltage wiring. Now, there is one downside that I've noticed so far with using this machine after I've used it quite a bit already. Now, I didn't notice this after using it in softer soils. It worked perfectly. Nothing was coming loose. But eventually, when I got to a project where we experienced extremely hard clay, the screws were actually coming loose on the nose of the machine. And I was having to stop every foot or two and having to manually tighten them with a screwdriver. Every time I was going with this, I actually lost 3 of the screws throughout this project where we were trenching more than about 250 linear feet at 18 inches in depth. This added a lot of time in the digging of these trenches. Now, having to hand dig this in this tight access situation was not an option. So really the GeoRipper was our only option where we couldn't get a machine into this backyard, but it really added a lot of time, a lot of frustration into this job that these screws were coming loose. So one of the screws actually fell out of this while I was using it. You can see there. So what was happening was the chain was going, but it actually pulls this down and the chain stops. So I was able to find this in the pile that we've dug up in this trench,
And we're back in business once we get this back in.
In addition to that, eventually the bolts at the bottom were actually coming loose as well. This caused the chain to loosen and eventually just fall off multiple times. So with the screw also coming loose and this bolt coming loose, we're having to stop multiple times in this job to fix this. Now I cleaned up the machine and I haven't noticed as big of a problem in softer soils, but I would assume that this is going to continue to happen, especially in these harder clay soils where this machine really does take a beating.
So this thing has been great up until this job, and I've had it for about a year now and it hasn't had any troubles. Now what's happening is every time I use it, I get about 1 foot in this dense clay going 20 inches down, and these bolts seem to be loosening, but even when I tighten them I can't. I clean them out and I try to get that all fixed, but they seem to be loosening, and you can see that this bar pushes inwards and this chain loosens and it falls off. And it's extremely difficult in this dense clay that it just happens again and again. Like I said, about every foot I'm having to either it falls off or I loosen these, pry this in, then tighten them. Again, I was having this problem with the trench for the gas line, but these screws come loose and fall off, and I think I lost two on this trench that I just did, but one on the gas line trench because they just loosen, they fall out. I got Loctite on them. I did everything I could to clean them, and still it's happening. Extremely frustrating with this thing because that adds an extraordinary amount of time to do a trench like this, which is like 80 linear feet.
Now in regular soil that we dig into, we calculated with a hand digging of 100 linear feet at 18 inches, it takes us about 8 man hours, and at $25 per man hour with everything included in that hourly price, we're at $200. And that is if we were to hand dig this in these tight axis situations. But with this GeoRipper, we get that 100 linear feet at 18 inches down to just 2 man hours, and that's $25 per man hour. That's only $50. That's $150 saving for that labor, as well as being more efficient and giving us 6 more man hours to move on to the next thing in that project. That means with the cost of the GeoRipper, after 2,600 linear feet at 18 inches in depth, we have paid this machine off in full with that labor savings, and we are 156 man hours more efficient with this. So that 2,600 linear feet takes us about 2 seasons to get to with our projects, at least 2 seasons, maybe 2.5. So with that being said, in our smaller business, this GeoRipper serves a purpose with these tight access situations in the trenching that it's able to do, as well as it really does pay itself off over time with this machine. If you want to learn more about the GeoRipper, we have a link in our bio to an article that we've written on it. And we've got links in our bio where you can check out more on this GeoRipper. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think of this machine, and thank you for watching.